Callum Lyle says for $5 Australian. How many of you saw that boring and unsufferable all-women MPower trailer from Marvel? As it sounded like a revisionist, and one ranted about walls. I don't know that I saw this whole thing, but Mr. Gore, I'm sure you must have.
Yes, I alerted Gary from Nerdrotic the minute I saw the trailer, like minutes after it came out, because it looked like a video that he had edited. You know, because Gary's been screaming about the MCU for a long time, and it just looked like something he edited. The only thing that was missing was his voiceover. So yeah, I've seen that trailer. I think what the shocking reality that Marvel has yet to face is the fact that women like strong male characters. Women like shirtless Avengers. There are as many female fans of Marvel for they're fans of Marvel for the male characters. So to lean in to this sort of female universe and the feminization of your male action heroes is a colossal mistake. Really, if you look at both Disney, Disney Marvel and Disney Star Wars, Disney is a feminizing brand. It's a brand for women. It's become that. I don't know if there are just forces within the company that have steered it that way, but that's what it feels like. There's that annoying and insufferable character on The Mandalorian that Mando always kind of leaves it with this woman. I forget the actress's name.
Yeah, she's the mechanic.
She's the mechanic.
Hey, yeah, what? You're leaving it here? Hey, you two, get over here.
And then, oh, there's my cute little. You know what she is? She's a Disney. She's a proxy for Disney Marvel or Disney Star Wars fans, right? A childless older woman who's watching all this stuff, and she's like a nerd. It's like they just took like, well, what do our fans look like? Okay, this is a female Star Wars fan. I feel like that literally she kind of embodies that, which is kind of weird. But no, I think it's a losing strategy, and that MPower trailer is just, there's so many moments where you're just like, you know, I don't want to tear it down. I don't want to break the glass ceiling. I want to tear down a brick wall and then rebuild it. There's all this messaging. I see it more and more in so many little things where it's just like, it's weird. It's like once you notice it, you can't not notice it, about breaking things down and rebuilding it, you know, like banks.
So, you know, Chris, that's a pretty amazing observation that I never really twigged onto, and that is, and I know it from the corporate perspective. A corporation has a culture. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what the culture is of the company that they've bought. At some point, the purchaser's culture is going to overwhelm the purchased company's culture, even if they were bought for the purposes of that culture and the success that they had, creating stuff with that culture, they can't help it. So that's a very powerful observation, that Disney has always been female centric. So yeah, Iger bought Star Wars and Marvel because they wanted boys. But they couldn't keep their fingers off it. They just, that's a very interesting premise. Couldn't leave it alone.
I believe this was not this decision was not made lightly. I think it has to do with
which decision, to buy it or to change
it?
No,
not the decision to buy it. Like, I'm saying the decision to feminize it, because I believe that this is supported by data.
But I don't think, but based on my experience, I don't think it's a decision. It's the culture of Disney can't do it any other way. It doesn't know what it's looking at. I've seen it. I've been in the middle of it, and I've seen the disruptions. This is why companies, when they merge, don't work, and no one can figure out why. And so Disney couldn't keep its philosophy off these properties. Just couldn't. I don't think it was I mean, obviously you had that one woman, I can't remember, it was a black woman who said, I'm going to make sure that every single Disney property is going to be gay.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Not so secret gay agenda was her.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, there, I think you're correct. That was, she was doing what she wanted to do. But Disney couldn't keep their hands off it. I think that's a phenomenal observation.
Well, I think it's data. I think partially it is culture, but also it's data supported because, God, I was watching Elijah Schaffer has a show. He was interviewing a woman about the history of women's movements and feminism, and she was just going through data points, right? Like how things have changed and not for the better. The destruction of the family, many women sort of reaching a certain age realizing, I've done the math. I won't be able to, not only won't be able to have kids, won't be able to afford to have kids. Right. So, but she pointed out that 85% of the purchasing decisions in a household is the woman. If you're in a household, right?
Sure.
Family unit, the woman will make purchasing decisions. So that is some of the evidence or reasoning for why these decisions are made, because I guarantee there are PowerPoints. I have friends who've worked at Disney in the marketing department, and they break down their demographics. They call them like Disney dads, Disney moms. In fact, they're so secretive about their data. They'll have these big charts and whatnot. They use a special kind of glass that makes it impossible for you to take a picture of these things because they don't want it to get out. But I guarantee that some of it is culture and some of it is someone doing some, marketing deck presentation that shows women are the ones who decide what to spend money on. Therefore, we should try to appeal to that demographic so that they'll buy our stuff. I think it's based in that sort of thinking. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how they've come to that decision. But it has clearly destroyed two major boy brands. Marvel on the wane. I mean, did Ant-Man drop another 60% this weekend? Has it cracked 200 million domestic? I don't think
it dropped 45% from last weekend's 60% drop.
Right. Yeah. It's like 2 weekends of, it was 70% or 69%, 70%. I wish Alan Ing were here.
Yeah.
69%.
70 or 67 point whatever, because they don't want to say 70, but basically.
Doesn't really matter. I think in the words of Bones, it's dead, Jim.
Yeah.
It's the realization that I think the brand is in trouble.
Well, but see, they've been misinterpreting data for a very long period of time, Chris. I mean, we've seen this happening with, starting in comics. Like we need women. They asked women the wrong question, then interpreted the data improperly. They said, right. Would you be interested in reading comics? Well, anybody can answer affirmatively to that. It doesn't mean that they're going to consume it, which is the problem that they've had with all of this DEI, or as I believe it should be called DIE, because eventually you kill your company. So that's where that all stems from. And Disney is the worst at misreading their data. They acquired these boy brands, and as Paul suggested, and he's 100% right, no matter what happens, you always end up taking on the culture of the corp that acquired you. And at the same time, the corp is a reflection of its leadership. Well, the leader of the company is Bob Iger. He put into place all of these super leftist sycophants that we're dealing with on the cultural level. And they, of course, instigated all of the changes to what was normally a very family-friendly company, which they have no claims to now. They have no interest in the family in it. They are actually actively trying to fight against it, which is insane because it's how they built their brand and everything else around them. But that's where we find ourselves. And it all comes down to, as Chris pointed out quite accurately, because Disney is a data hog, they misinterpret their data. And then, instead of leaving something to be, you end up with the Force is female.
Yeah.